Howdy y'all, and welcome back to I Am Abled because I am is able. So it's been a little while since I made a video because I needed a break after the last series that I did to just kind of regroup my thoughts and rest. It's important during recovery seasons to find that time of rest, and sometimes it takes longer than others. I wanted to come back today especially because today is kind of a big day. I saw a new kind of specialist today. And one thing about recovery that is kind of weird when you've been dealing with a somewhat chronic injury or pain is that bad news to other people can actually seem like good news. So I wouldn't say that today was bad news. I would actually say it was very hopeful. I saw a doctor, and I'd never heard of this type of doctor until now. It's actually a kind of new specialty, new being in the last like 20 to 30 years. They're called physiologists. I might put the spelling of that in the description if you want it. If I haven't yet and you do want it, message me and I will. So anyhow, went to see this new specialist, and he actually was really careful to do a bunch of different tests of movements and what I felt with each movement, and feeling different parts of my spine to make sure what I felt with each thing and where the pain was actually located in. Because one thing about nerves that's really weird is that you can feel like the pain is in one spot, but it's actually coming from a totally different area. So it's important to pinpoint where this is coming from. Wow, the birds are really loud today. Anyhow, so he was really good, and it made me feel quite hopeful today, as well as my mom. But the strange thing about that, as we were leaving the doctor's office, and and my friend was there to pick me up, waiting for me, I said, "Yeah, we even found out that more is wrong with me than we thought." And I was really happy about this, and other people in the room looked really confused. And I get that, because it's strange to be excited about having more wrong with you than you thought, but more doesn't necessarily mean worse. So here's what happened. I've been told for a long time that I have a herniated disc and some kind of nerve thing, and that's all that pretty much anyone could tell me. My neurologist thought that it was mostly in just the elbow to the wrist, but my symptoms didn't match that. And the x-rays and MRIs weren't showing anything new except that there was herniation, and we didn't know what to do with that except for surgery, which I don't feel very comfortable with in the neck. But this doctor, after doing a pretty full workup on me and looking at different images from the MRIs and the x-rays over time, was able to determine that it's not just the herniated disc that we're worried about not worried, but that we're looking at that's causing the problem. But if you look at the spine from above, it kind of, to me, looks like a weird kind of plane with a really round body and really stubby little wings. So the actual spine, the round part of it, then has wings that come out, and those wings kind of meet together at the ends with the ones below them or above them, and they protect the other nerves that are coming out in between there. There's a lot more that goes on, but basically what happened when I fell is it was kind of whiplash, and those bones that are going out, the wings, have been shoving on each other, and basically it's kind of like a really, really bad bone bruise, and they're just not getting a chance to heal, and they're continually messing with the nerves as well because they're hurt, and they're hurting the nerves because they're trying not to hurt themselves more. It's kind of a vicious cycle, and it's been going on for over 14 months. Yay. Yeah, so the good news to this is that I've also noticed a lot of dizzy spells, problems with vision, and a lot of other things that keep me from doing normal tasks like driving and several things, because I just don't feel safe doing that. But we have a plan now. One of it does involve a procedure with cortisone shots in my neck. I'm still going to look into it a little bit more over the next few days, but I feel pretty good about what he was saying about it, and it should start to relieve the initial pain. And if we can break the system, we can break this vicious cycle of pain that's coming from my bone and my disc, then hopefully we can get the nerves to start working right again. That's the hope. And then hopefully I won't have these giant setbacks. So yeah, that was today. This morning I felt all in knots about the whole thing. Seeing a new doctor, when you're dealing with a long-term recovery, something that takes over 6 months to recover from, sometimes even something that takes over a month to recover from, can feel like it takes forever, and can feel like you have seen more doctors than you have good friends. And it's been a while since I've seen a new doctor because, frankly, I didn't know where else to go. I had seen orthopedics, I had seen neck surgeon, I had seen regular, I can't think of what they're called, my regular physician, physical therapist, occupational therapist. I've seen a lot of different kinds of doctors, and nobody seemed to have any exact answers for me. For good reason, because there's a lot going on here. But that means going to new doctors can be scary. And this morning my stomach was in knots. Even though this isn't a surgeon, so I wasn't worried about the surgery, I was just worried about getting my hopes up. Because when you go to see a new kind of doctor, one of two things can happen. Well, actually one of three things can happen. One, they have tons of bad news because they can't help you and they can't figure out what it is, or because it's actually bad news. Because no news, when you've been dealing with this for 14 months, is still bad news. But bad news is also sometimes bad news. Or two, they fill you with a lot of hope, and that's great. Or three, they fill you with a lot of hope and they can't actually go through with any of it. So it's a really unnerving process to see a new doctor, to get your hopes up, and then possibly have them dashed, or possibly even have them build you up and not be able to follow through. So I'm hopeful at the moment. I hope that the hope just continues and that I continue on a upward trajectory of the healing process, recovering process. So yeah, but we'll see. This is a process. And right now we have some answers as to what is going on with me, even if it's not what some may call good news. My mom and I feel a lot of relief because finally somebody had some answers that made sense with what is going on. And he even was talking about symptoms that I hadn't even mentioned to him, but I'd been having happen. Because with these things, he has seen these kind of symptoms. And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think to mention that, but I am having that problem. Particularly a form of vertigo. There's nothing wrong with my ears, so technically vertigo comes from the ears, but I'm basically having a form of vertigo in the sense that my head still gets that swimmy sensation. It's hard to think through it. It's a little scary at times, but it's not because of my ears, it's because of my neck. And it's so many different nerves that are so upset by this whole thing that it messes with my brain. So hopefully all of that will at least start to diminish. The hope right now that he's giving is at least 50% pain reduction with at least the first procedure. We're hoping only one procedure will be needed, but he did warn that there could be more. So we'll see. I'm nervous and happy and all sorts of really weird feelings that I'm not quite sure about at the moment. Yeah, so I wanted to take you along for this journey, and this is part of the journey. This is what long-term recovery kind of looks like. I don't want to call it a chronic injury, because I don't know. There's some hope now on the horizon, but it's definitely a long-term recovery and long-term pain at the moment. Whatever that term is, I don't quite know it, but yeah. So here we go. Here's some possible answers and some direction that we can start heading in. So, okay. And for the way that I'm able today, I was able to get to the doctor's office and back thanks to my bestie. I'm able to enjoy a beautiful day. And as soon as I get off of here, I will be able to take a nap, which I'm really looking forward to because this has been an emotional roller coaster of a day, but in a good way. So, on to nap. How are you able to today? Yeah, that's my challenge. All right, have a good day. God bless. Bye.